A German World Cup fan named Sebastian just did something on live television that's making waves across the internet in a way nobody saw coming. He broke down crying, not because his team lost, not because of some dramatic match moment, but because of how nice Americans were to him during his visit. And that interview clip has now exploded to over 8 million views, because it's tapping into something way bigger than one emotional fan. This is the angle the world isn't covering about the 2026 World Cup, and it's the one that might actually matter more than any result on the pitch. Sebastian sat down with NBC Boston during Germany's run through the group stage. The interview was supposed to be standard fan reaction stuff, talking about the matches, the atmosphere, maybe some predictions. Instead, what came out was raw and unfiltered. He described how terrified he was before arriving in the United States. Genuinely scared, he talked about the media coverage back in Germany, the narratives he'd absorbed for years about American aggression, gun violence, rudeness, hostility to foreigners. He admitted he almost didn't make the trip because the fear was that real. Then he got here, and everything he expected, everything he'd been told to expect, it didn't happen. Instead, he found strangers going out of their way to help him with directions, restaurant staff joking with him about soccer, random Americans buying him drinks when they heard his accent and found out he was here for the World Cup. People genuinely excited to meet him, asking about Germany, wanting to know about his experience. He said it felt like being welcomed into someone's home, not visiting a foreign country. And when he tried to describe all this on camera, he couldn't hold it together. You can see him fighting the emotion, trying to get the words out, and then just losing it because the gap between what he feared and what he found was so massive that it broke something open. The interviewer didn't know what to do. It's one of the most genuine moments of television you'll see, and the internet recognized it immediately. But here's why this matters beyond one viral clip. Sebastian isn't alone, not even close. Social media is absolutely flooded right now with foreign fans posting their own versions of this exact experience. A Brazilian supporter posted a TikTok showing his genuine shock when a server explained free refills to him. He thought it was a prank. He kept asking if he had to pay extra. And when they kept saying no, he filmed himself going back for a third, fourth, fifth refill, like he'd discovered some kind of glitch in reality. That video has 4 million views. A Japanese family documented their entire subway experience in New York. They were lost, didn't speak much English, clearly struggling with the metro map. They filmed what happened next. 3 different strangers stopped to help them without being asked. One guy walked them to their platform to make sure they got on the right train. The father's caption was simple: "This would never happen in Tokyo for a foreigner." That's from a Japanese visitor saying Americans were more helpful than Japanese culture is famous for being. Think about that. An English supporter, and this one's my favorite, filmed his first Waffle House experience at 2 in the morning after a match. He walks in wearing his Three Lions jersey, sits at the counter, and has absolutely no idea what he's looking at on this menu. The locals around him immediately adopt him. They're explaining scattered, smothered, covered. They're telling him which hash browns to get. They're debating waffle toppings like it's a matter of national importance. The guy is laughing. They're laughing. The staff is laughing. He captioned it: "Came for football, found out Americans will friendship you to death at a random diner in the middle of nowhere." 6 million views. These aren't cherry-picked outliers. This is a pattern. Dozens of videos, millions of views each, all telling the same story from different angles. Foreign visitors arriving with low expectations or outright fear, and then discovering a version of America that doesn't match anything they've been told. And they're emotional about it because the dissonance is so strong. Now, the culture war crowd has obviously jumped on this. Conservative accounts are sharing these clips as vindication, proof that media narratives about America are unfairly negative, that the country is better than its reputation abroad. Progressive accounts are pushing back, arguing these visitors are seeing tourist-friendly areas and missing the real problems Americans face daily. Both sides are using the same viral content to make opposite points. But here's what's actually interesting from a pure international relations perspective. This is happening during a FIFA World Cup on American soil. The entire world is watching, not just sports fans, everyone. and the counter narrative being written in real time on social media by millions of foreign visitors is something you can't buy with any amount of soft power spending or diplomatic PR campaigns. These are authentic voices, unscripted moments, people from countries all over the world discovering something they didn't expect and sharing it voluntarily. The International Olympic Committee studies this stuff closely. They know that host nations get a massive global perception boost when regular people from other countries visit and share positive experiences. It's why countries fight so hard to host these events despite the financial losses. But the World Cup is different because soccer is truly global in a way even the Olympics aren't. The audience is bigger, the emotional investment is higher, and the visitors stay longer because the tournament runs for weeks. Sebastian's interview matters because it's the emotional anchor point for this entire narrative shift. That image of him crying on camera, trying to explain how wrong he was about America, it's the shareable proof that something real is happening here. It's not just tourists having a nice time. It's people confronting their own internalized stereotypes and finding them completely off base. That's powerful. That's the kind of thing that changes how countries are perceived for years. The question now is whether this moment has legs beyond the World Cup itself. September brings the NFL International Games, American football going abroad to showcase the sport overseas. That's the inverse of this, Americans exporting culture rather than hosting the world. But the foundation being laid right now, these millions of positive interactions and viral testimonials, that's the groundwork for how American sports diplomacy plays out for the next decade. Sebastian didn't plan to become the face of this story. He just showed up for some soccer and found something unexpected. And because he was honest about it on camera, because he let himself be vulnerable in a way that's rare on broadcast television, he created a moment that's bigger than sports. It's about how we see each other across borders, how narratives get built and broken, and how sometimes the most powerful diplomacy happens in diners and subways and random acts of kindness that nobody planned. That's the angle. That's what's happening under the surface of this World Cup. And it's the story people abroad are going to remember long after they forget who won the semifinal.